What's up, BNN family? Thanks for tuning in and showing so much support. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. Let's start. Olivia, a 32-year-old woman, found herself in the midst of a crisis that stemmed from a seemingly innocent drinking game. It all began on a Saturday night when she and her husband, Eddie, decided to take a break from their responsibilities as parents and enjoy an evening with friends. With their daughter Isabel being cared for by Eddie's mother, they relished a chance to reconnect and unwind. The evening was filled with laughter, good food, and flowing drinks, allowing Olivia to momentarily shed the weight of her roles as a mother and a wife and feel like her old, carefree self. However, the night took a turn when someone suggested playing Never Have I Ever. Initially, it was all in good fun until Mike posed a question about hooking up with someone whose name they couldn't remember. Most people chose not to drink, but without thinking, Olivia took a swig of her drink. When Tasha asked how many times it had happened, Olivia, caught up in the moment, jokingly said she couldn't remember half of her hookups and added that she still dreamed about the others. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence, and she noticed a change in Eddie's demeanor. He seemed shocked, as if he was seeing her in a new light, and though he quickly made a joke to deflect the tension, the damage was done. The drive home was filled with an awkward silence. When Olivia tried to gauge Eddie's feelings, he brushed her off, claiming he was just tired. This was uncharacteristic of Eddie, who had always been the one to maintain composure and keep things light. Their relationship had blossomed during a time when Olivia was still navigating the tumultuous waters of her youth, filled with bad relationships and partying. Eddie was different. He was responsible and attentive, and Olivia had fallen for him hard. Their love progressed quickly, culminating in a pregnancy that led to marriage. But now that connection felt strained. As days turned into weeks, Eddie grew more distant. He came home late, provided curt answers to Olivia's questions, and seemed to avoid intimacy. Olivia, feeling the growing chasm between them, tried to bridge the gap by cooking his favorite meals and suggesting outings, but nothing worked. Finally, unable to suppress her frustration any longer, she confronted him about his behavior. His response was a mixture of hurt and disappointment, revealing that he was still processing her careless joke about her past. To him, it was not just a joke. It was a sign of disrespect towards their marriage. Feeling rejected and isolated, Olivia turned to Tinder, justifying her actions by claiming she wasn't actually cheating. She merely sought validation. The attention from strangers felt like a balm for her wounded ego, and she found herself sending flirty messages and revealing photos. Meanwhile, Eddie continued to withdraw, becoming increasingly suspicious of Olivia's late-night phone use and her apparent change in demeanor. Their home had become a battleground of unspoken tensions, with Olivia retreating into the digital world, while Eddie remained physically present but emotionally absent. One fateful day, Eddie, feeling the need to confront the growing issues, went through Olivia's phone while she was in the shower. What he found shattered the fragile trust that remained between them. Explicit messages and photos exchanged with multiple men from Tinder. When Olivia returned, she found him sitting at their kitchen table, her phone in hand, and the reality of her choices hit her like a freight train. The confrontation escalated quickly, with accusations flying back and forth. Eddie felt betrayed, while Olivia felt cornered and defensive, arguing that his coldness had driven her to seek attention elsewhere. Their argument spiraled, ultimately resulting in Eddie deciding to leave the house with Isabel, seeking space to reevaluate their relationship. Olivia was left reeling, filled with panic and desperation to reclaim her family. Despite her pleas and angry voicemails, Eddie remained resolute, taking their daughter to his parents' house. Days turned into weeks, and Olivia's attempts to reconcile were met with rejection. Her friends and family, once supportive, began to side with Eddie after hearing about the situation. In a desperate bid to mend things, Olivia met Eddie at a diner, hoping that nostalgia would help reignite their connection. But when she attempted to apologize, Eddie's response cut deep. He wasn't sure they wanted the same things anymore. He handed her a separation agreement, outlining living arrangements and custody of Isabel. This moment solidified Olivia's realization that her marriage was not only at risk, but was ultimately over, a consequence of her choices and actions. As time passed, The divorce was finalized, and Olivia moved into a smaller apartment, struggling with the reality of her new life. She began to date again, but no one could compare to Eddie, leaving her feeling hollow and unfulfilled. It was during an open house at Isabel's school that her heart sank further. She saw Eddie with a new woman, Lauren, who seemed to fit seamlessly into the role of a mother figure alongside Isabel. The sight of them together felt like a dagger in her heart, reaffirming her fears that she had lost not only her husband but the family they had built together. In a moment of clarity, Olivia recognized that the dissolution of her marriage was not solely Eddie's fault. She had played a role in its downfall, failing to respect their commitment and allowing her insecurities to lead her into betrayal. While part of her still clung to the idea that Eddie should have fought harder for their marriage, she began to understand that true love is rooted in accountability and respect. With each passing day, she grappled with the painful truth of her actions while acknowledging the need for personal growth. As she sat in her new apartment, reflecting on the family pictures Isabel had drawn, pictures that no longer included her in the same home, Olivia faced a bittersweet reality. She had a long way to go in accepting her responsibility and healing from the choices that led to the collapse of her marriage, but she knew that this journey was essential for her growth as a mother and as an individual.